Okay, so this next video is all about how to use standard deviation. Let you into a little secret. I've definitely just gone through all of this once and realised I hadn't clicked record properly, so we're having a second attempt at this. First inquiry question here for you to answer is, what does standard deviation tell us? Why is it useful? What does a low score or a high score mean? If you click on this link here, it'll take you to a Google Doc, which will just kind of give you the very basics of that. What I would say is the equation for standard deviation can look quite scary with the sort of the different symbols, but don't let that kind of scare you off. Hopefully by carrying on with this video, you'll see that what we're going to do in Google Earth is really quite straightforward. It's just simple as kind of, as long as we get the formula, the preloaded formula right, and the data in the right set, it's really quite quick and easy to work out. So once we've had a go answering that, this second inquiry question is the one for us to consider. So this is where we're going to try to work out what the variation or the distribution of the death toll from these two different hazards is for these different countries. Okay, so standard deviation is most useful, in my opinion, when we are comparing standard deviation scores between countries or even between hazards. So we'll be able to see, is the variation in the death toll from storms more significant, bigger or smaller than from earthquakes? You might have an idea on that already. And then which of these countries has the greatest, kind of the biggest difference again? It's going to tell us sort of fairly similar information to the interquartile range you've already calculated. However, the difference is the interquartile range just looks at the middle 50% of the data. So it doesn't. So what it allows you to do is not consider the kind of data that might skew your sample. Whereas what this does is it takes into account the whole range of data. So using the two together can be quite useful. But it's sort of it's going to tell us a different set of data, and it's going to give us some nice values to compare. So for this, we're going to be working on the raw country data. I've actually already set this up, so I'm just going to remove this so I can show you how I did it. This is from the first video attempt. So first we need to do, go across to our raw data country. Okay, so this filter is going to make our lives a lot easier. So at the moment, I've got this filter set for earthquakes in the Philippines. Okay, so that's the only two I've got. Once I've done that, our table is interested in deaths, so I can select the death toll, Command C, go across to my tab I've already set up here, standard deviation, and Command V. Now you notice some of these cells look slightly different. Just gonna undo that. Now what I'm going to do here is change this to earthquake deaths, and just going to make that a little bit bigger so I can. There we go. Wants to play. At the top, what I've done is I've already merged these cells. So to do that, I've just highlighted the two cells I want. I click on this button here, merge cells, and it creates it into one. Okay, so I'm going to give this a heading of Philippines. This one's going to become Haiti, USA, and Japan. So you'll notice I've already merged these, but in that same way. So by highlighting the two cells, hitting merge. Okay, so I'm then going to have storm deaths. If it might be easier, I can copy and paste those across like that. I can highlight these and double click so you can just sort them out into the right size for me. And then what I'm going to have here is my standard deviation table. So it's going to be very similar. I can end up copying and pasting this into the Google Doc once I've formatted it. So we had country, the earthquake standard deviation score, and the storm standard deviation score. Then I'll put my countries down here. Haiti, what else we got? USA and Japan. Okay, so now all I need to do is I go through and then I can do my formulas in here. So I'll just select one word of data for you so you can see what we're going to do. So again, I go back to my original raw data. This time I'm going to get the storms, so I'll turn off earthquakes, turn on storms. Don't need any rest of this. I'm just going to take this depth data, so select it all, Command C to copy it, back to my standard deviation tab, paste. Okay, lots more data for that, but that isn't a problem at the moment. Okay, so now to do my formula, and if we get this right way around, it's really straightforward. So into here equals, so it's going to do a formula, stdev. Okay, it's already preloaded. That means what it's doing, as soon as I click on this, it's going to be telling Google Sheet that that's the formula. So all of that complicated equation we saw in the Google Doc, it's just going to do that for me. And all I now need to do is highlight my earthquake. Oh, don't want to do the text, I might confuse it. And hit enter. Okay, and it's already calculated my standard deviation score. Simple as that. Okay, so same thing for storms, stdev, or I can just start typing it and click on that one. Select the data I want, close brackets, hit enter, and again it's done it. Now you'll notice mine haven't got any decimal points. I've already formatted all of these cells using this function here, so I can put the decimal places back in, or I can remove them. I don't want any decimal places, so I've got rid of that function is just going to round it up to the nearest whole number for me. So now I've got my standard deviation scores for earthquakes and storms. I can see that there is a slightly bigger range of deaths from earthquakes in the Philippines for the data set shown. And again, what will be interesting is to see which of these countries has the smallest range. Is that indicative of better management or better awareness? Which of these has the lowest storms? And then, again, between them, is there a greater variation in storms or greater variation in earthquakes? And again, that we can use that kind of information to help consider predictability and how easy, which is those hazards is maybe easier to manage. Okay, so good luck with that. As always, any questions, drop me a comment or join me on Google Meet. Fantastic, thank you.